from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. North Korea suspends its nuclear and long-range missile programs. UN Security Council ambassadors arrive in southern Sweden for an informal meeting on Syria. And the activities of the photographic exhibition for the visit of the Sultan of Brunei Darussalam to the Sultanate continue at Bandar Seri Begawan. Those were the headlines. Now the news in detail. North Korea said today it has suspended nuclear and long-range missile tests and plans to close its nuclear test site ahead of a new round of negotiations with South Korea and the United States. The North's decisions were made in a meeting of the ruling party's full Central Committee, which had convened to discuss a new stage of policies. The Korean Workers' Party Central Committee declared a great victory in the country's official policy of simultaneously pursuing economic and nuclear development. The committee unanimously adopted a resolution that called for concentrating national efforts to achieve a strong socialist economy and groundbreaking improvements in people's lives. The North Korean leader presided over the meeting. The Palestinian ambassador to the United Nations appealed to the UN Human Rights Council for independent and transparent investigations into the recent force used by Israeli officers on Palestinian protesters. Riyad Mansour added that,
as I was coming today to the UN, I passed by the intersection of 42nd and 2nd Avenue, and there are hundreds of Jews demonstrating against the Israeli mission, demanding condemnation of this massacre against the civilian population and requesting that it should be stopped, and other things that they're asking for. We salute all those who are expressing solidarity with the Palestinian everywhere. I had a discussion with my colleague in Geneva today after the results of what happened today on the ground, and he will be beginning the consultations with members of the Human Rights Council so that the Council to shoulder its responsibility with the possibility of moving in the direction of the independent and transparent investigation. In this regard, we salute the special rapporteurs in Geneva who have been calling for investigation by the UN, and they do not accept that Israel, who is committing the crime, to be able to investigate itself. What is needed is an independent and transparent commission to conduct the investigation on these crimes.
Iranian President Hassan Rouhani said today Iran's atomic agency was ready with expected and unexpected reactions if the United States pulls out of a multinational nuclear deal, as US President Donald Trump has threatened. The deal, reached between Iran, the United States and 5 other world powers, put curbs on Iran's nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief. Trump has called the agreement one of the worst deals ever negotiated. In January, he sent an ultimatum to Britain, France and Germany, saying they must agree to fix what the United States sees as the deal's flaws, or he would refuse to extend the critical US sanctions relief that it entails. United Nations Security Council ambassadors and Secretary General Antonio Guterres arrived today in southern Sweden for an informal working meeting. Gustavo Meza Quadra, Peru's UN ambassador and current Security Council president, said the meeting could help the ambassadors narrow the difference in their stances towards Syria. The meeting comes just a week after France, the US and Great Britain bombed suspected Syrian chemical weapons sites, saying Syrian President Bashar Assad's government was behind an alleged chemical weapons attack in the town of Douma. Syria has denied using chemical weapons, and Russia, a permanent member of the UN Security Council, has strongly criticised the joint airstrikes. The annual meeting of UN ambassadors was taking place at a farm named after Swedish diplomat Dan Hammarskjöld, who served as the second UN Secretary General until he died in a plane crash in September 1961. Syrian rebels started to evacuate 3 towns in the Eastern Kalamoun region in the Damascus countryside today. Several buses left the towns of Rahaba, Jerud and al-Nasriya, carrying hundreds of rebels and their families to opposition territory in northern Syria. There could be 3,200 rebels leaving 3 towns today. The evacuations would continue for 3 days. Syrian government forces will take over the towns once the departures are complete. The evacuations are the latest in a string of population transfers around the Syrian capital that have displaced more than 60,000 people as the government reconsolidates control. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi made a short stop in Berlin to sit down with German Chancellor Angela Merkel after concluding visits to Sweden and Britain. The meeting between the leaders focused on bolstering economic cooperation between both countries. Germany is India's largest trade partner within Europe. It was Modi's second official visit to Berlin to meet with Merkel, but the first since she began her 4th and likely final term as Chancellor next month. Modi arrived in the German capital after visits to the UK and Sweden. Still to come in our news bulletin. Craft weaving is part of the rural women's life. The activities of the photographic exhibition for the visits of the Sultan of Brunei Darussalam to the Sultanate continue at Bandar Seri Begawan, the capital of Brunei. The event is the first of its kind to be held at the Royal Museum since its establishment in 1992. The number of visitors to the exhibition since its inauguration on the 21st of March 2018 reached more than 9,000 visitors. The Sultan of Brunei Darussalam visited Oman in 1984, 1985 and 2009. The event embodies the depth of the relations linking the two countries. Craft weaving is part of the life of rural women. In the Walaya of Mutaiba, an exhibition was held for some craftswomen of the Walaya to showcase their products related to the accessories of camels. The event was held on the sideline of the 9th annual Al Abiyad Camel Festival. It was also an opportunity for camel owners to buy some of the products. The exhibition promoted handicraft industries in the Walaya. The Directorate of Social Development in the Walayas of Jalan, Bani Bu Ali and Jalan Bani Bu Hassan organised a workshop on the functions of the Social Development Committee. It discussed procedures and legal regulations for collecting cash donations from the public. The workshop reviewed the Civil Associations Law and voluntary groups. It also shed light on conditions for granting permission to charitable and voluntary groups. Now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Clear skies will prevail over the Sultanate with chances of low clouds and fog late at night and early morning over the governorates of South Shakir, Dhofar and Worcester. Winds will be northwesterly, light to moderate. Seas will be slight with a maximum wave height of 1 metre. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. North Korea suspends its nuclear and long-range missile programs. UN Security Council ambassadors arrive in southern Sweden for an informal meeting on Syria. And the activities of the photographic exhibition for the visits of the Sultan of Brunei Darussalam to the Sultanate continue at Bandar Seri Begawan. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.